Good morning, dear kids. Today I am taking your exercise 8.2, question number 5. Okay, we have a figure like this. In your question number 5, it says in a parallelogram ABCD, E and F are midpoints of AB and CD. You have to see the figure. Show that the line segment AF and EC trisect the diagonal BD. Now, if I draw a diagonal BD, then it is trisected. What do you mean by trisection? Trisection means तीन हिस्सों में divided, तीन equal हिस्सों में divided. So in a way you have to prove that these three halves, these three sections are equal. That means you can prove that this part is equal to this part is equal to this part. So if I name this as P and Q, shall we start? This is your P and this is your Q. Okay, let's start. Now E and F are midpoints. It is given in the problem. Okay. If they are midpoints, so can I write AE is equal to half of AB? And can I also write CF is equal to half of CD? Okay. Now, but you know very well that ABCD is a parallelogram. Therefore, we know that the opposite side AB is equal to CD. So that means AB is equal to CD. Therefore, half of AB will be equal to half of CD. And if your right hand sides are equal, can we say that AE is equal to CF? So therefore, you can write AE is equal to CF. Okay. And AE and CF are parts of the parallel lines. So therefore, we can write that they are also parallel. Can we not write? Yes, we can write. So they are parallel. So hence can we say that this is also a parallelogram, that is quadrilateral AEFC is a parallelogram. Am I correct? If the lines opposite sides are equal and parallel, so this is a parallelogram. Now further we can go, okay, FA. If it is a parallelogram, so FA and CE are also parallel. FA is parallel to CE and FP is parallel to CQ. उसी का part है. So we can take that FP is parallel to CQ. Once you got two lines parallel, if I go in triangle DCQ, F is a midpoint. And in my previous video we have done, if you have a midpoint and if you have two sides, that is line coming from midpoint, segment coming from midpoint, if it is parallel to the third side, that is FP is parallel to CQ, which you already know. Then you can say by converse of midpoint theorem, P becomes a midpoint. Are you getting my point? P becomes a midpoint of what? P becomes midpoint of DQ. Correct? So P is a midpoint. Did you saw that P becomes a midpoint of DQ? Now my dear kids, if I similarly go in this triangle, E is a midpoint and EQ is parallel to AP. So once you have one midpoint of a triangle side and a segment is drawn from that midpoint, it is parallel to the third side. Therefore, we can say by converse of midpoint theorem, Q becomes a midpoint of PB. Are you getting my point? So here you can say that first you got P is a midpoint of DQ. So we can say DP is equal to PQ. And in your second you got Q is a midpoint of PB. So PB का Q midpoint है, so we can say PQ is equal to QB. Now my dear kids, DP is equal to PQ and PQ is equal to QB. That means all three are equal. That's what we wanted to prove. Is that clear? Are you getting my point? So we can say that DB is trisected by P and Q, तीन equal हिस्सों में. Is that clear, my dear kids? Okay. Next we have question number 6. Which says show that the line segment joining the midpoints of opposite sides of a quadrilateral bisect each other. That means if I draw a quadrilateral something like this, and if I join the midpoints like this, show that the line segment joining the midpoints of opposite sides of a quadrilateral bisect each other. That means you have to prove, if I name this as EF, and this is your H, and this is your G. So if I draw a line joining these, so you have to prove that E, G and F, H bisect each other. मतलब वो equal halves में divide करते हैं. If I name this as A, B, C, D, shall we start with the solution? For that, I'll prefer to take a construction joining AC. Now if I take in triangle ABC, you can notice E and F are midpoints which are given. E and F are midpoints in ABC. So when can we say by midpoint theorem EF is parallel to AC and EF is half of AC? Similarly, if I go in this triangle, that is ADC, H and G are midpoints. So can we write that HG is parallel to AC and HG is half of AC? From here you got EF is half of AC. From here you got HG is half of AC. So can we say from first and second that EF is equal to HG? So you got EF is equal to HG and EF is parallel to HG. That means can we say this is a parallelogram? Now if this is a parallelogram, the property says, the property of a parallelogram says that its diagonals bisect each other. So this is a diagonal and this is another diagonal of this parallelogram and they bisect each other. So once you have proved that this is a parallelogram, your answer is done. So hence you can write EFGH is a parallelogram, and since the diagonals of parallelogram bisect each other, therefore segment EG and FH bisect each other. Got my point? That's what we wanted to prove. कि EG और EF मैंने प्रूव में लिखा है कहीं पे, यही प्रूव करना था that ये दोनों आपस में बाइसेक्ट करते हैं. Got my point clear? In your next we have ABC is a right angle triangle at C. A line through midpoint M of hypotenuse AB. So this is your midpoint M, and from here line is drawn which is parallel to BC, intersect AC at D. Okay, so what you have to prove? ABC is a right angle triangle, line through midpoint hypotenuse parallel to intersect at ABC. Then you have to prove that, first proving is you have to prove that MD is perpendicular to AC. First you have to prove, first you have to prove that D is a midpoint. Second, you have to prove that MD is perpendicular to AC. And third, you have to prove that CM is half of AB. Three things you have to prove. Shall we start? My dear kids, if this is midpoint and this line is parallel to this, so can we take biconverse of midpoint theorem? Can we take that D is also midpoint? So your first part is done. In your second part, you have to prove that this is MD is perpendicular here. How you will prove? My dear kids, if these lines are parallel, it is given in the question only that this line is parallel to this. And if this is 90, then by co-interior angle, this also becomes 90. That means your second part is also proven. You can write, since MD is parallel to CB and angle C is equal to 90, therefore angle D is also equal to 90, co-interior angles. And once you got this as 90, you can write therefore MD is perpendicular to AC. So your second part is proven. Now in third, for your third, I will say you to take two triangles, that is AMD and CMD. So you can write in triangle AMD and CMD. If I want to make them congruent, can I write first part AD is equal to DC? You have just proven that D is a midpoint. Can I write second part that angle ADM is equal to angle CDM because each is 90 degree? You have proven here. And can I write third reason as MD is common in both the triangles? So therefore I'll get that triangle AMD is congruent to triangle CMD by SAS test. Once you got that congruent, can I say that AM is equal to CM by CPCT? Can I say therefore AM is equal to CM by CPCT? Once I got that, but AM is, can you see here, AM is what? Half of AB. AM is what? Half of AB. So instead of AM, can I write CM here? So CM also will become half of AB. So that's what we wanted to prove in our third, that CM is half of AB. Is that clear, my dear kids? So all the three things are done. Okay, I'll stop it here. If you have any doubt, you can message me. God bless.